Imagine you are sitting on your couch watching a movie. Your dog is fast asleep at your feet, and the world outside is completely still. Then, without warning, your pet bolts upright, ears pinned back, whimpering at the front door as if staring at a phantom. You check your phone, no weather alerts, no news, nothing. But 48 hours later, a massive earthquake strikes your city, turning that quiet afternoon into absolute chaos. Your dog knew it was coming, while our billion-dollar satellite networks detected absolutely nothing. How can a stray dog possess a better early warning system than the most advanced seismology labs on Earth? The truth is, humanity has been blind to a silent countdown that happens right beneath our feet. For thousands of years, ancient civilizations observed animals fleeing cities days before disaster struck, writing it off as divine magic. Today, modern seismologists can only give us a few seconds of warning before the ground starts to violently tear itself apart. The obsession with predicting the unpredictable began over 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece. In the winter of 373 BCE, the bustling coastal city of Helike vanished from the map, swallowed by a massive tsunami following a violent earthquake. But historical records from the philosopher Aelian reveal a chilling detail. 5 days before the disaster, every single snake, mouse, weasel, and centipede abandoned Helike in a mass exodus. The citizens watched them leave, completely baffled. Today, our modern technology operates on a drastically inferior timeline. The United States Geological Survey utilizes advanced seismometers to detect P waves, which are primary pressure waves that travel through the crust just before the destructive S waves hit. This setup gives major cities like Tokyo or San Francisco a warning of roughly 10 to 30 seconds. Think about that for a second. We have mapped the distant stars and built quantum computers, yet we cannot outpredict a common field mouse from ancient Greece. The core issue is that our machines are designed to look for mechanical movement, the physical shaking of the earth. Animals, however, are not waiting for the ground to move. They are listening to a completely different language of the planet, a chemical and electrical symphony that starts days before the rock finally snaps. This realization led researchers to stop looking at the machines and start looking at the nests. In 2009, a British biologist named Dr. Rachel Grant was studying the mating habits of common toads in L'Aquila, Italy. 5 days before a devastating 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck the region, 96% of the male toads suddenly abandoned their breeding ground. This behavior was completely unprecedented. Toads never abandon their spawning pools mid-season, as it ruins their reproductive cycle. Dr. Grant's subsequent study, published in the Journal of Zoology, shocked the scientific community. The toads weren't feeling the ground shake. They were reacting to a massive shift in the local electromagnetic field. When tectonic plates suffer immense stress, they squeeze the quartz crystals inside the Earth, creating a massive battery effect known as piezoelectricity. This immense pressure releases billions of positive air ions directly into the atmosphere. For a human, this chemical shift is completely invisible. For an amphibian with hypersensitive, porous skin, it feels like a low-grade electric shock, polluting their water and forcing them to flee. Imagine your entire environment suddenly vibrating with static electricity, making your skin crawl with no apparent explanation. It is an inescapable discomfort. But while toads run from the electricity in the water, other animals are listening to a terrifying sound coming from deep inside the stone itself. While amphibians track electricity, birds use a network that spans entire continents. In 2014, researchers from the University of California, Berkeley, were tracking a population of golden-winged warblers across the United States. Suddenly, while resting in Tennessee, the entire flock took off and flew an extra 430 miles south, completely breaking their normal migration pattern. 2 days later, an unprecedented outbreak of 84 tornadoes swept through the exact region they had just abandoned, killing dozens of people. The warblers didn't see a single dark cloud. They heard the disaster coming from hundreds of miles away, through infrasound. Infrasound consists of ultra-low frequency acoustic waves that sit far below the human hearing limit of 20 Hz. When tectonic plates grind together deep underground, or when massive storms brew, they generate a deep, continuous acoustic roar that travels through the atmosphere for thousands of miles. To a bird, the sky is not silent. It is a loud, shifting map of acoustic signals. Humans walk through this world completely deaf to the deepest noises of nature. We rely on satellite images of things that have already happened, while a creature weighing less than an ounce is actively navigating around disasters that haven't even arrived yet. This raises an uncomfortable question. If birds can hear the earth groan from states away, what are the animals right inside our homes experiencing? To understand how this plays out in our living rooms, we have to look at the largest systematic study of animal behavior in human history. In 1975, officials in Haicheng, China, noticed a massive spike in bizarre pet behavior. Dogs were barking frantically for hours without stopping, horses were kicking down their stables, and cats were desperately carrying their kittens outside into the freezing winter air. Because of these collective biological red flags, city officials ordered a massive evacuation of over 1 million residents. Just days later, a massive 7.3 magnitude earthquake leveled 90% of the city's structures. Had it not been for the frantic warnings of domestic pets, over 100,000 people would have died in their sleep. Subsequent neurological research at Max Planck Institute suggests that domestic animals possess a highly developed vibrational sensitivity through specialized nerve endings called Pacinian corpuscles. These receptors, embedded deep within their paws and limbs, detect microscopic microseisms, tiny high-frequency vibrations in the bedrock that occur days before a major fault line ruptures. When your dog stares blankly at a wall or refuses to eat, they aren't being stubborn. They're experiencing a sensory overload, feeling a physical vibration through the floorboards that your human nervous system is simply too dull to register. They are trapped inside a house that they know is fundamentally unsafe, but the most terrifying indicator of all comes from the darkest depths of the ocean. For centuries, Japanese folklore maintained that whenever the oarfish, a bizarre, ribbon-like creature that lives 3,000 feet below the surface, appears in shallow waters, a cataclysmic earthquake is imminent. For generations, modern scientists dismissed this as a seafaring myth. Then came the year 2011. In the months leading up to the historic Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan, at least 20 oarfish washed ashore, beaching themselves on the sand. When scientists finally analyzed the deep-sea chemistry of fault zones under stress, they discovered something horrifying. Before a megathrust earthquake occurs, the extreme friction tears open deep-sea rocks, releasing massive amounts of hydrogen peroxide and toxic heavy metal ions into the water. This phenomenon is known as tectonic bleeding. The deep ocean trenches, typically pristine and silent, suddenly turn into a toxic, burning graveyard. These deep-sea giants aren't swimming to the surface because they want to warn us. They are fleeing a chemical hellfire in the deep. They beach themselves and die in the sun, because staying at home means being slowly poisoned alive by the crumbling crust of the earth. It is a desperate, final act of survival that we are only just beginning to decipher. The next time you see your dog refuse to step into a room, or notice the birds outside your window suddenly go completely silent, pay closer attention. You are witnessing a flawless 3-billion-year-old sensory network that has kept life alive through 5 mass extinctions. Humanity has traded this profound biological connection for the comfort of glowing glass screens and digital alerts that arrive far too late. We have separated ourselves from the rhythm of the planet, assuming our architecture makes us invincible. But the animals have never forgotten the rules of the earth. They know that safety isn't found in a smartphone app, but in listening to the very ground that supports our weight. If you want to dive deeper into the hidden, unexplained mechanics of the natural world every week, hit that subscribe button and join our community. Drop your answer below. Have you ever witnessed your pet act completely bizarrely right before a major storm or a natural disaster occurred?